Hello, everyone. My name is Haley Pagden, and today I'm going to be talking about school funding. First, I want to start off with a quote that I have lived by since I was in my senior year of high school. It is, "Teachers plant the seeds of knowledge that grow forever." So I always have loved working with children. I'm very passionate about students feeling welcomed and loved and that they matter, because without students feeling comfortable or that they matter, um, they're not going to learn. They may learn a little bit, but not to their full potential. So I'm going to be talking about funding schools. My main points that I'm going to be talking about throughout this whole presentation is lower dropout rates, higher test scores, and more opportunities for students. So first, I'm going to start with lower dropout rates. So a study was done in Texas, and it was found that dropout rates dropped 2% with more funding for their schools. 2% doesn't seem like a lot, but if you have a class of 400 people, that's quite a bit. You know, students will have more materials and more opportunities and want to come to school if there's more funding and more things that interest them. So the next thing is their student achievement level rises, which obviously that is true. If the percent dropped 2% for dropout rates. And then a higher outcome for all students. So another thing that was found in this study was that college students that moved on to college, it was up 9%, which is huge for this study for a low-income school. So that's super, super, super exciting. Now, unfortunately, funding is not always available for schools, which is very understanding and something that you have to keep in mind. But if the funding's there and the state is able to give the money, then it definitely needs to be used, because students, that's our future. That's who's going to be our future. And if they don't have an education, or they're struggling, then it's very important that they get that. So the next thing is higher test scores. So in the same study that was done in Texas, these students tested so well that their school got an extra $1,000. So for any type of school throughout any type of state, if the students test well on a certain test, I believe it's state testing, they get extra money. So that is something to keep in mind. You put more funding in, you're going to get more funding back. That is something that you always want to keep in mind. Giving your students the funding that they deserve, you're going to get something back from them. They are going to perform well during those tests, and when they perform well, the state gives you more money, which will pay off in the long run. With the more money that they got, they had more student support services. They had more materials for students, which again, that makes them want to come to school. That makes them feel that they matter and that their education matters. And students feel as if they matter, like I just said. So that's something that, all of us as educators need to remember. Making those students feel like they matter will make them feel excited to come to school. It'll make them feel wanted. And you also have to remember that not all backgrounds for students are good. Unfortunately, some home lives are not good at all. So giving that extra funding will help motivate them extremely. And the last one is more opportunities for students. So I always say this to my students. It's just a little saying. It gives your students more time to shine. So if they're in a club or a group after school, they will have more time to share about themselves if they don't get to at home. It's something super important to remember. Some home lives are not good, and that's anywhere you go. It's also important to remember that it's not that they're not good. Some parents just work a lot. So when they're home alone. They don't get the attention. So having those extra curricular activities after school or clubs will give them a chance to share and let them shine, as I would say. Another thing is work on harder subjects. So a lot of students, if they're in a low-income school or they don't have help at home, they struggle all throughout school, which is why we have dropouts. And it's important to remember that if they have that after-school help and they know that it's there, they will stay after, their grades will go higher, testing will go higher, more funding. It's kind of like a domino effect is how I look at it. You put money in, testing will be good. You'll get money back. Students will feel wanted, less dropouts. It all just circulates. And students will feel encouraged. They'll know that their teachers care about them. They'll know that they matter. The school wants them there, so that's super important too. And last but not least, references. So these are the two websites that I use. The one was the study that I used, and then the other one just had some ideas and stuff like that. So thank you for watching, and I really hope you understand how important funding is for these students. And, without funding and extra funding for these students, it could be a little bit scary. So thank you for watching.